Hello, welcome back to another episode of Somewhere Between a Film and TV podcast. We're your hosts. I'm Daniel Parr.
And I'm Erwin Trejo.
And number one, thank you so much for listening and watching. Number two, what are they going to do?
They're going to like, comment, and subscribe.
Please do.
Oh, wait, no, you do the square thing.
The square thing? Oh, like where it's like,
yeah.
Like, comment, and subscribe, because I've been putting it right there in the middle.
It's like,
But yeah, no, please do.
Yes.
Or you'll be, it's a square. Erwin, I'm going to say this right off the bat. That way I can say this next part. Oh. Everything we review will always have full spoilers.
Yes.
What is it that we are reviewing?
Thunderbolts.
Or, apparently it's called something else.
Yes.
The new Avengers. But I still like the title of Thunderbolts a lot.
Guys, I got spoiled before I got to see this
movie.
Can
you... because you saw it, like, what, today, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it? For sure the title, but... What else? I got spoiled with the end credit scenes.
Really? Both of them?
Yeah.
One of them's just like, hey, it's...
Yeah. Because that's where I was like, is this an ad?
Yeah. Oh.
And I was like, no. And someone says, like, this is like the first credit scene. I was like, what?
Yeah. Okay. I see.
And so that happened. But then with the Fantastic Four one, too.
Which obviously kind of, I feel, might spoil the ending to that movie if you really think about it. But it also makes me excited because I'm excited to see what happens, like that they have to leave their universe and whatever else may happen.
We already know what happens.
We definitely know what happens. They lose and then they probably have to show up to...
And then people are going to say, this is my favorite Marvel movie because the heroes lost. Like Infinity War.
That's true.
That's what a lot of people say.
I've heard some really... Going into this, I was very lucky. I didn't have any of that.
Yeah.
I somehow, some way, at least with Marvel, I get one thing spoiled from each time. Mm-hmm. Nothing. I had a feeling Taskmaster died really early on.
Dude,
but
Taskmaster died real fast.
Yeah.
I did not. I thought Taskmaster was going to last until like probably the last 40 minutes of the movie.
They did like the Suicide Squad thing where like they introduce someone and then kill them like right away. Yeah. It
happened so fast. My God.
But before we get into all of that, of course, this is Marvel made another great movie, so it's being hailed as like, is Marvel back? As if they really ever went anywhere.
Yeah.
But we're going to get into literally everything because this is the thing that we can talk about forever, so I'm sure we will. What is Thunderbolts about?
Thunderbolts is about a bunch of other, like, either vigilantes, rogue.
Some of them are just kind of straight up villains.
Bad guys from, like, other movies or TV shows that Marvel has released. And basically, they were assigned to take out one person, but apparently they were assigned to take each other out.
Which I think is brilliant. That's so funny.
And eventually they had to, like, band together to go take out the person that they... that their boss hired them to do. Yeah.
And I think that I said in a TikTok, I think I said this, that we'd posted on our TikTok page.
Yeah.
Somewhere Between Film, if you want to follow it, by the way. But I said that this felt like a Phase 1 movie in like the best way possible because... A lot of people forget that Iron Man, of course, was a B-side character. He was not the first thing you'd think of to make a movie about.
Yeah.
These aren't just B characters. These are like D-rate. Like, they call each other losers constantly throughout this movie.
Yeah.
And they're constantly like, we suck.
I didn't think I would ever get to see like Ghost again.
Yeah, which I still think like I want more of that character.
Yeah,
because I love her like power skill set. Yeah. But there's a lot to say here, so let's go ahead and just get straight into it because I've got some stuff to say. With this movie, did you love it? Did you hate it? Or are you somewhere between?
Dude, I loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved it.
It's not just great. Yeah. I think it's really great. I think that this is one of those... It captures the energy, for me, of when I felt like the MCU was at its, like, I'm so excited. I cannot wait. I can't wait for Ant-Man 2. Like,
dude, oh my God. Yeah, it definitely reminded me of Phase 1 a lot.
Yeah.
Or actually Phase 2.
Yes, because it's like Guardians, that level of quality,
I think
right?
It reminds me of Phase 2 of the MCU, especially because it gave me a lot of semblance to the first Guardians movie.
Yeah.
And because I remember coming out of it, it's like, who are these people.
Yeah.
Especially it's like, oh, talking raccoon in a tree, awesome.
And I think
it's like the same level of experience.
It was the same level of experience, and I think that what is so cool about this movie, the third act was not what I was thinking it was going to be at all.
Me too.
This movie took an approach that, while I loved Daredevil Born Again, which I thought had some stuff to say, that was a TV show. Captain America, I did not love. We very vocally we didn't trash it, but we also didn't love it either.
It definitely had its issues.
Yeah.
And I can see why a lot of people wouldn't rank that high.
And remember, this is the first movie that was made after the whole like creatively stretched thin part of Kevin Feige.
Oh, did you read all that whole thing?
I did read it.
Dude, that's insane.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it.
Oh,
yeah.
Do you want to?
Yeah.
If you know about it, then...
I mean, I don't know. I think it was just really interesting to see that... I don't know. It's like a horror. Of course, it's like a bunch of money issues and everything with like Disney and Marvel.
Yeah.
And then Kevin Feige just feeling like he was just stretched.
Yeah.
To like every single, like with all these so many projects that Disney wanted to just pump out.
And
especially with Disney Plus.
Yeah.
And just having so many shows out as well. It's like you couldn't have a lot of good creative like heads running this, and they focus more on quantity over quality.
Yeah.
And it definitely showed in a lot of shows and or movies that Marvel has released in the past couple of years.
Output got so scattershot.
Yes.
And all over the place. I know that we didn't really dislike anything, but you could very much feel...
What about, you said you finished Secret Invasion?
Oh, I didn't like Secret Invasion.
I'm pretty sure... I think it just sucks because...
that existed.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I haven't seen it. But it's just the thing is, when it came to a lot of these shows and movies that Marvel has released, it definitely felt like... I don't know who said this. I don't know if it was Kevin Feige or like somebody else in Marvel that said that it feels like your average audience member doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Because these movies feel like they're all over the place.
Yeah.
And because usually beforehand, it felt like a story. Like something's connected to something bigger along the way. And this one, it felt like it was connected to something bigger. Now it's not. And now it's like this. Boom, 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 boom. And it doesn't need to be connected, too. Because sometimes, like, what they said, too, where it's like a lot of these movies are just... They're good on their own. Yeah. Regardless if something bigger was going to happen along the way. And they just focus more on how do you connect from one movie to the next instead of just focusing on that movie itself.
Yeah. And for a while there, I don't think I could say this. With this one, I 100% could say this. Could you start off with just this one? Yes.
Yes. I say so.
Because while they do have references to some of the stuff that they're from, like, we also learn what they're about. Like, I think the one that probably comes with the most baggage is John from Captain America or Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
And even his introduction, though, they did the smartest thing in the world, the whole like dream room thing.
Oh.
And that was their exposition in order to show what they're dealing with mentally.
Yeah.
Again, showing, not telling. Brilliant way to execute that. I thought that was so smart.
Dude, you know the writers of Thunderbolts? Beef, but also BoJack Horseman.
Yeah, which you could tell.
When that when that happened, I was like, that makes sense. No wonder it hit me.
This movie has it's not just mentioned. It's not just like Tony Stark has PTSD.
Yeah.
This is very specifically what the movie is about. Is all of them have depression.
Yeah, and it's just like the trauma that they've had in their past as well, and like how much like guilt they carry with them as well.
And the villain, well, not Julia Louis-Dreyfus, who I think is great in this, but the villain, the Void, or Sentry, is like a metaphor for, well, you know, the void that you feel like that. Or, I think, also just being bipolar. I think that that's like a very visual theme.
Yes. I mean, especially since he said it to himself, too, where it's like, do you ever feel like sometimes you feel invincible? Yeah. And then other times where you just want to hide and just be just by yourself, circled in. And
I like that there's a line that they say where they're like, you gave that power to maybe the most unstable person in the world, and it worked. And they were like, imagine that, but like amplified. Yeah. And I thought that was really great. I think what separates this movie for me, it felt unique and it felt like something I hadn't quite seen from Marvel before.
Yes. it gave me something where maybe I got from Daredevil.
Yeah.
Just because of how, like, the dark themes around it. But what stood out to me was the fact of just like the emotional anchors of this movie. Because what stood out was Florence Pugh's character.
Best part of the movie, I think.
I would say her and like her relationship with David Harbour.
Yeah.
Like for sure got me. That was the first one where I was like, oh my god, this movie, I'm loving this movie more. Because before they said they had like that father-daughter moment.
Yeah, and like I love Black Widow, but it's not like they're not the focus. They're in it a lot. They're in it, yes.
But in this one, they definitely took the time to actually like explore more of their relationship.
Yeah. And
it definitely hit me where I was like, oh my god, this is so like I did not expect this to like hit me so hard right now.
Yeah.
And then later on when it just tackled more about Sentry, because this movie was more about, it felt like for sure Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Black Widow, and then also like the origin of Sentry.
Which was interesting because I didn't feel at any point like they were trying to introduce somebody new. Yes. It felt very organic. It felt like kind of what they did with Black Panther in Civil War, where he's here. Yeah. And like that's just kind of like this is it. Like we don't really have to do the whole let's go through like every singular part of their backstory. Sentry's not about to get an origin movie. He doesn't need one. Yeah. This was kind of it.
Basically, you kind of know who he is and how he is. And like the powers that he's put.
Which are really interesting.
Yes.
And
I'm excited to see what they do.
He's another character like Captain Marvel where he's going to have to be put somewhere else if anything happens. Because if he goes like through the void mode.
Void mode.
I'm about to go void mode. Like they're going to have to be like, hey, get him anywhere else.
Yeah.
Because I just think it's funny that you can kind of defeat somebody with the power of their trauma or something. But the whole concept of his power, like, because I don't want to get ahead of myself here, but there's a really surprising part in this that, because you don't know what his power is doing initially.
Yes.
So to me, I thought he was like evaporating people. So there's a joke in this.
Oh my god, dude, that freaked me out.
Yeah, where he does it to like a little girl.
And I was like, I knew Marvel was getting darker, but not like this.
It was just really,
to this extent.
It was really funny. But it was also like really...
David Hart. Okay, but the Red Guardian saved her.
Yeah.
And so it was a really sweet moment.
No, it's because they go through this whole heroic moment. They set up the whole thing. And like I know that Marvel sometimes, I can acknowledge this because I felt this way about Love and Thunder. I don't feel it as hard as other people do.
Yeah.
That they can undercut their serious moments with a joke.
Yes.
I felt like this was the one where they were like, you know what? We can make it funny, but don't do that.
Yeah.
And so his reaction after that happens was just like,
Dude, I felt stunned.
Yeah.
And then especially whenever Yelena actually like goes to the void as well. And like I felt like the impact too from the Red Guardian.
Yeah, because you're like, what is she doing?
What is she doing?
Yeah.
Like she finally just giving in to everything.
I really like the concept of Taskmaster. If I were to argue against anything, I can't call it a flaw within the movie itself, but that's because I know this character outside of that.
Yeah.
It sucks to see, but also it's really easy to probably just say, hey, this is the actual Taskmaster. That person died.
Yeah.
And
just because the way they introduced Taskmaster in Black Widow, you're just kind of left... I don't know. It's insane because like the fact that that has the capability of basically copying...
It's so cool.
It's a cool idea.
It's also really great in the Spider-Man game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But... I don't know. At the end, it's like it's useless. I would say, especially in this movie, especially with the amount of characters that they introduced. So I'm kind of glad they took out Taskmaster too.
That's true. I mean, the
original...
we didn't
get enough of Ghost, regardless.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's the one thing where I was like, oh, you got a little, or you didn't get much when it came to Ghost.
Yeah.
But you got a little bit with everyone else, and especially Bucky, which also I don't know, like I don't know where Bucky's doing.
I've read this about... I loved this movie a lot. And I've kind of felt like this movie itself is sort of reflective of the kind of scrappy nature all of these characters have. They don't get along for like a large portion of this movie. Yeah. The first act is them like constantly like bickering at each other.
Yeah. It's like, no, you're going to kill me. No, you're going to kill me.
Yeah, and then the fight is really great where they're all initially introduced. That's the part where Taskmaster does get to show like a really cool... thing that she does, and then she gets shot in the head. And I know that Jake Schreier said the reason why they chose to do that is because they were like, well, we have to introduce this kind of core element of we have to give it stakes, And what I really like is this emphasis in this movie in particular. We've spent a lot of time with a lot of super powered people in the MCU. Not just super powered, but like insanely super powered.
That makes sense.
This movie very specifically, I felt like they were real. Like they were like genuinely kind of, not in a sense like, oh my god, I would run into David Harbour's Red Guardian on the street. Which the end credit scene of somebody literally doing that is very funny.
So funny. That was funny.
Yeah. But they felt like they had personality.
Yes.
Like that outside of the scenes that they're in. I really love Yelena's whole like monologue at the beginning where she's like, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
And I think it kind of calls into question. We talked recently, it was about the MCU, it was about Daredevil, where I felt kind of like the writers of the show, whether they knew or not what they were doing in terms of writing it this way, where it was like them in Daredevil about running away from their past and kind of ending up back in the spot that they should just be in anyway.
Yeah.
This one felt like the characters themselves were kind of calling into question, like, hey, why do we keep finding ourselves in this situation? Not asking ourselves why we're doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
And I thought that, I wonder if Jake Schreier and then the people that wrote BoJack Horseman, if they are fans of the MCU, or if they're fans of the MCU in the sense that they're like, well, we could also be doing something with this.
Yeah.
If they're like, if the characters are starting to wonder, what exactly is our place in all of this, then maybe we could make a movie quite literally about that. And that's why I think it works so well in the first place. Is because this movie also feels like it's about something.
Yes.
Whereas I felt Captain America was a political thing that had nothing political to say.
Yeah. I think they definitely showcased more of just like the action sequences in that one.
Yeah.
More so than just like I guess like for what the trailers were giving us.
Yeah.
Because more of just like high stakes and like in a political sense. But in this one, it felt like the opposite. Like the action was still there and it was great.
It was great, yeah.
Yes. But I don't know. It's just it definitely took its time to like actually flow through with the characters and explore what they're going through.
Yeah.
Which I never thought like I would actually care so much more about Yelena's character and then like also the Red Guardian's character too. Like that's what the parts where I was like just shocked. I was like, whoa, what the heck? I already loved Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
And so seeing John Walker again, he definitely had more of a chance. I don't know. I guess just see more of him like in that spotlight again, which is really nice because I did like his character in the show as well.
And I like that they acknowledge what he does in this show because they're like, and I also like that they keep calling him like Discount Captain America and stuff like that because John Walker as a character is very interesting because he's not Captain America. He's really far from it actually.
Yeah.
He's somebody that kind of wants to do the right thing, but he's so egotistical and caught up in himself.
Yeah.
That I love the moment so much. This is like one of the more humor-based scenes where he's like, identify yourselves. And he's like, no.
Tell me that's something I would do.
Because he tries to like do the whole like
charismatic.
Yeah. How's it going?
Yeah. It did not work.
I like that there's so many moments where these characters very much are like, hey, if we keep insisting on doing this, we will die. So they just abandon like halfway through that initial fight with Sentry in the Avengers Tower. They leave so fast after he's done like beating them up.
But also with Sentry too, I also enjoyed Sentry's character. Yeah. Because the fact that it's also his inner battle of like he wants to be good. He wants to prove to people that his past doesn't define him. Yeah. But also fighting that, trauma that he's had as well.
And this is one of those, you said you compared it to Guardians. This is one of those movies where I don't know how they did it, but I feel like outside of probably Ghost, who I still like expect to see more of and want to, I am so surprised at how much they were able to incorporate everyone and give them all depth.
Yes.
I do kind of agree with you because I've also heard this critique from other people. I don't know what it is about Bucky that they're trying to head towards.
Yeah.
But
I thought they were going to do more with him being a congressman. Yeah. But then they just cut that off.
No, they even kind of handle it off screen a little bit. They're like, you lasted less than a term.
Yeah.
And part of me wonders if that's headed somewhere or...
Yeah, I don't know.
Because I remember even, because I brought it up in Captain America, I was like, that man used to be, I was like, how did he even get that far politically speaking?
I don't know. it's insane to see that. But at the end, like, I wonder what the stakes are gonna be in the next couple of like Avengers movies too.
That's true. That is what they're going straight back into.
Yeah.
And I honestly, the way they set it up, it was kind of jokey at the end, but I thought they were heading towards like Civil War 2. Because they made the whole thing about like the copyright affiliation thing. And I was like, oh my god, Bucky and Falcon would actually be, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Because it would be Captain America versus, like,
and it makes
Winter
sense.
Soldier, yeah. But then I would think about how much more insanely overpowered Sam's team would be compared to the new Avengers. Because that's part of what the punchline is at the end of this movie is like, yes, they were able to accomplish what they needed to do barely. But they were like, none of this, it's kind of like faking it till you make it at your own job. Or let's say like, oh, I lied on the application. And then like Red Guardian ends up like next to Thor. And I loved that about this. Like, it was very much ground level form of Marvel. It reminded me so much of... We haven't even talked about this.
Which one?
Just the fact that this is the most in-camera, effects-wise movie in a long time. And you can feel it, too. Did you feel like... Because, I mean, there's some CG, because of course there is. But this is the most in a long time... shot almost like kind of how back when Iron Man was.
Yeah, it's very grounded.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it's just because of the budget or the fact that it was just very... I guess it was just focused more on quality than just like trying to showcase some like big vibrant scenes as well. But I think what definitely helped a lot in this was more just like the fighting sequences. Just because of the lack of power. You said like from the director or writers?
It was from the... both.
Okay. Well, I guess because of that, though. It's like the lack of finally like having just super powerful individuals that have to showcase so much. And then, of course, you have to show that through CG.
Yeah.
And this one, they have to use what they have, which is just, most of the time, it's just their hands.
Yeah.
And, like, guns. And so, with that, they're able to, like, I don't know. You can show more by having less.
Yeah, and it's true. There's a moment in the middle of this movie where Bucky shows up.
Yeah.
And... it's like the whole limo chase scene, which is a brilliant idea. I think it might be... Actually, I don't know what the best action scene in this movie is, but it's up there. And how it's happening is it's very funny. It's also very tense because it's in camera. None of it is CG. They're very clearly in a desert. They're very clearly in the car.
Yeah.
And what happens is so great because he shows up on a motorcycle. And when you really think about the logistics of it, his cool thing that he does is he punches the ground and the limo, like, or the car, everything just kind of flips over. And you can compare that to how you feel, let's say, watching The Marvels, a movie I like, where, but it's lesser Marvel, at least I think I feel that way, where one of their bigger moments where it's like a huge space battle, whatever, you're kind of like, I mean, it's cool, I guess, but if you compare those two separate feelings... The reason why I think you have so much more attachment to that is because, number one, I care about Bucky.
Yeah, I mean, you care about the characters that were introduced.
Yeah.
Just because you had those moments of whenever the Void was or Sentry was touching them.
Yeah.
Too, and you got to see more of their backstory. So it's like, well, that's interesting. I want to see where else can they go from there, too.
I'm surprised they didn't do Bucky's, like, trauma room thing, but I'm also not, because the joke that he's like, oh, I have a great past. You're like, well, I mean, half the MCU is dedicated to this specific character's, like...
Yeah, that's true. It's like everybody knows what he went through. And that's where it's like, also good writing comes in, too. Because if you do follow what the MCU has introduced with their movies or shows, or just even the movies alone, like, you don't need to showcase that character again. Because us, like, as the audience... Either we know it or we don't, type of thing. And you're just following along. And
obviously, if you know the way that they talk about Winter Soldier in the first place, you're like, obviously something happened to this guy.
Yeah.
If this is going to be somebody's first Marvel movie, and they're probably going to like, they're probably going to be really excited about.
There was this mom and son.
Yeah.
And so at the end credit scene, whenever the end credit scene happens with the Fantastic Four ship appearing, the mom goes, wait, I thought they were the Fantastic Four. Why? The
Thunderbolts?
Yeah, the son's like, no, there's more than 4 of them. It's like, no, that's a different team. And I was like, oh, so they're Thunderbolts? And then the son goes, no, they're the new Avengers.
Yeah. What?
It was
Yelena,
so funny.
Ghost,
yeah.
John.
She was like, I thought they were the Fantastic Four this entire
Bucky.
time. I was like, I don't know.
How many are there? There's like 6 of them, right?
Yeah.
There's like... That's so funny.
That was funny to me.
But the other thing, though, you probably heard about this, that Florence Pugh jumps off like the second tallest building in the world. And something I noticed right off the bat was how this movie shot, because it looks different than the rest of them, right? Like,
I wonder what, or who was the cinematographer in this one?
There's this whole thing. There was a trailer that they released that I showed you like a couple weeks ago.
Yes.
That was them flexing their creative team, which I think is really cool because it was like from the people who brought to you the music made for Everything Everywhere All at Once, the director and writer behind Beef, I wish I could tell you because they got the cinematographer from, I think, The Green Knight.
Oh,
which
I feel like this entire movie, it's like the whole thing is about depression.
Yeah,
I would say, and it just had that look of just like a gloomy look, type of way, just so like the entire time.
But intentionally, not in the way that sometimes people say Marvel's gray or flat. There's a real energy to it. There's a very specific look here, and they never betray it. What I really like about it, also, is this movie's about being kind of like drenched in that darkness, that void, whatever you'd like to call it. And I really liked that was intentional. I love the way the void looked in this movie. It's so simple, and yet it's so actually kind of intimidating.
Very effective.
And, because
especially with the eyes,
just the really really small kind of like pencil dot type eyes. They're like white, sort of, I guess.
They look yellow to me. I mean,
I guess you could barely see. Yeah. And outside of that, though, the other thing that, like you said, it's about a lot of stuff. I don't know if that was something Marvel was like. I don't know, because it's just one of those things where you expect themes from superhero things. That's primarily why in American culture, why they're so important is because they're harbors for different things. David Harbour.
Nice.
Like Superman is always about like hope, joy, and the idea of striving to be the best of whatever you can be. But there's a lot of exploration for other things in there. Like Spider-Man is about a lot of different things.
Yeah. Just depending on like what stories you're trying to go for.
Yeah.
But I guess in particular with Thunderbolts, it was mostly about, I'd like to think that this movie alone was just talking about not letting your past, like not focusing on the past and holding you back on like the things that you want to do, especially with like what you're trying to like portray yourself as well.
That's the entire point of what The Void was.
Yes.
Where Lewis Pullman is really great in this, by the way, as Bob. I like that they keep calling him Bob throughout the entire thing.
Yeah.
There's an ongoing joke with him where they're like, "Why are you here?" And like, unfortunately, I feel like if you watch the trailer, you can piece together who he is, which kind of sucks.
Yeah.
But
I feel like they could have easily done it where they didn't showcase Sentry in some sort of way, like in the trailers.
Because I think you'd even spend the trailer kind of being like, who's the villain of this?
Well, yeah, because you could think it's like, oh, it's just Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Yeah, which it still sort of is overall.
Or you can see like a void, right? And you're like, who is the void? You know, like, who is this? Yeah. And so it wasn't until like you see Sentry and then like Sentry is a void and everything.
It's just interesting because this movie also felt a lot smaller than, I don't know what the budget was, but they're really like in like 3 places. They're in a bunker. Yes. They're in a desert, and then they're in New York for like a street and a building. Yeah, and that's which I actually kind of admired. I think that they must have done it on purpose. They're probably like, guys, before we like do Avengers, let's go ahead and get like our shit straight. Yeah, and they're like,
oh, even with the end credits scene, you could tell, right, like how it was filmed differently.
Oh, because the Russo brothers directed it?
Yeah. I was just like, oh my god.
I love the Russo's Avengers stuff, but after Electric State, please, just like...
I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. I mean, of course you can get by on, like, you know, loving the characters and everything, but I kind of wish that the person who directed this was behind those instead. Yeah. But we'll see how that all goes.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
I got excited for it, not because Thunderbolts told me to get excited for Avengers. I got excited because if this is the level of quality we're moving forward with,
yes,
that's awesome.
I think, well, no, because the next one's... What's after this one?
Fantastic Four.
Okay.
Which so I fucking bet will be great.
Yeah.
Because...
I mean, I hope so.
I kept feeling that way about this. I was like, I've been really excited to see this.
Yeah. But... I mean, if it's like the same quality like you said, that's going to be amazing. Because after Fantastic Four that's Avengers Doomsday, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Which I feel like is a little soon, but...
Dude, it's been 2 phases already.
Yeah.
That's what's insane.
But that's because they were supposed to set up the whole multiverse thing, but honestly...
Oh, with the King Dynasty?
Yeah, but it's honestly kind of a blessing in disguise, because the multiverse thing just doesn't work with regular, everyday people. Because... Yeah. I know that from first-hand experience of having to explain, no, that's not that Wolverine. That's a different Wolverine. And then they're like...
I like the idea of the multiverse where it's like they're connecting from these other Marvel movies that aren't part of the MCU beforehand.
Yeah. And
just having them introduced because these are characters that people have already seen.
Yeah.
And they had their own standalones. Like the fact that they introduced like Blade and Elektra.
I love
Tobey Maguire, Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Everything, because those are people, like, those are movies that already been made, and that being, like, it's multiverse type of thing, that made sense to me. Yeah. Or that could make sense to, like, the average person.
It
more
makes
so than
sense
just, like,
if there's an actual storytelling reason for it.
That too,
but when I'm just thinking about Ant-Man Quantumania here, which is probably my least favorite MCU movie. And if that was like...
the first Ant-Man movie is my favorite.
That some people do think that.
It just made me laugh.
Also, this one is going to be someone's favorite Marvel movie.
Absolutely.
I can tell.
Dude, I teared up twice.
It's just that good.
It was that good.
It's like...
that good.
I think this is just the genuine shot of energy that they needed, because Guardians, people kind of were like, it's great because it's the end of something. And you're like,
I'm like, dude, all 3 of those movies are great. I don't understand.
They're like, what are you talking about?
Like, I trust James Gunn with the new Superman movie.
Oh, I absolutely do. But then I think people are also kind of like, the stuff that was coming out outside of Guardians was like Thor, Love and Thunder.
Oh, yeah,
which I think is all right. But that's kind of like, we were at a point there where if we were reviewing Marvel movies when Phase 2 was coming out, we would have been like, great.
Oh, yeah.
And then, or let's say we had our podcast around Endgame, we wouldn't be able to shut up about like literally anything.
Yeah, that's true.
So I understand where
but that's also around the time they introduced like Disney Plus shows. And I guess, I don't know. It was like, I remember that slate that they introduced and everything too. Like, they didn't have Blade. I'm pretty sure it's not going to be touched. No, I don't think it's going to be made. And so it's stuff like that, though, where it's like they introduced so much like quantity, which sounded great at first, but now I guess like over the years we see where it's like, wow, I think the fact that if they did take a step back, like I think Kevin Feige said it too, where it's like they'll focus on 1, maybe 2 shows a year, and that's it.
They're like, let's just, because I think they learned from that because WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier came out in the same year, and those were great.
Yes.
And then Loki was great, and then after that, I think there was just...
that after that?
I think it was Marvel.
Oh,
which
okay.
I like a lot. Oh, and Hawkeye. But then, after that, was like when everything kind of just sort of like...
But I wonder, like, if when it comes to, like, the MCU...
Yeah.
Do they count... I know they're in the same universe, but I'm guessing in terms of, like, the quality.
Yeah.
Right? Do they focus on one show and then a movie, or is it a movie and a show as well? That's what I wonder.
No, because this year I think is the most Marvel output we've gotten in a while, as we're going to, and that's just because they finally, like, Daredevil's best stuff in that show was once they were like, all right, we finally have time to focus on this.
Yeah.
And then this, I'm not really sure where the idea for Thunderbolts came from. I don't know if it was announced on a slate or whatever it was.
It was, but I think it's just one of those ones where I guess none of us really expected it to, like, happen this way, too.
It might have been a totally different movie at some point, too. It might have been,
like the Serpent Society type of thing.
Yeah, like, it might have not had this plot at all.
Yeah.
And what I really loved and appreciated about this so much is I liked their chemistry a lot with all of them. Like, they give each other a hard time constantly in the movie, but I do feel like at the end of it, like, they, in a really weird way, get along with each other.
Yeah.
And
I think just because of the fact of, like, their upbringing, too.
Yeah.
And the fact that they were just, all of them were just trying to survive what they were going through. So that made sense.
I think a lot of them are kind of like, I think I just really zeroed in on how much development I felt like they gave to John Walker. Just because I was like, there's something about Wyatt Russell's portrayal of this character that I'm thinking there's something there to him. And I think it's because of that whole choice he makes in Falcon and the Winter Soldier that I remember that back when people were really invested in Disney's weekly shows, that was a huge deal.
It was.
When that came out. And...
Well, because that show was so good.
Yeah.
Just because I remember him, like, just wanting... Because I guess, like, the government picked out, like, I don't know why I said the government. The government in that show. The government. In that show, they, you know, in their version, they picked the best person to get this... No, wait. Actually, he didn't get the serum yet. Yeah. He just picked the best person to be the next Captain America. Yeah. And so the fact that he took the serum just because he wanted to like... Not, and it wasn't to protect others too. It was just the fact that he felt like he wasn't enough. Yeah.
That's what's interesting about his portrayal, though. There's such an easy universe where he's just a douchebag. Yes. And, like, that's the only thing to him.
The fact that he mentioned his varsity, football team.
Oh, he went straight for the, when I was in high school football.
I was the senior captain.
It's jokes like that where I'm like, okay, the person who made Beef wrote this. Because, like, they're that level of observant to, like, human behavior. And...
Oh, and then the name Thunderbolts came from a soccer team.
I love that.
That was funny.
That's actually really... I think because I was anticipating it was going to be Thunderbolt Ross. I thought the whole thing was going to be like, we can't call ourselves Thunderbolt Ross because that he kind of like, you know, blew up. Yeah. And, like, attacked the White House and himself, I guess. Yeah. But, I don't know, like, occasionally they would reference something from Captain America earlier this year, and I was like, I did watch that. And I was like... That makes me sad that could have...
It could have been something different. Yeah. That's okay.
Like, I don't know. It's just I kept thinking about it. It could have been something different with that same, like, story, too. Yeah. But I'm really grateful we got this one because this movie is really, really amazing. Mm-hmm. Do you have any negatives?
I guess my only negatives would just be Ghost. Yeah. And Bucky. And just because I felt like they had the least amount to say or do. Yeah. And just the lack of screen time. That's all it was. And I think just because, especially with Ghost. Yeah. Just because she was introduced again, and especially, we only got, like, maybe a glimpse of it, but it wasn't even enough. Like, I wish we had a moment where a Sentry, like, touched her as well, and, like, we were able to explore, like, her trauma again. Mm-hmm. It's basically another explanation, because it's been so long since we've seen it, since when? Also, like, Ant-Man and the Wasp?
How many people have seen Ant-Man and the Wasp?
That's
I don't
true.
know.
Yeah, because that was, like, right after Endgame.
Yeah. No, right before.
No, wasn't it after?
Ant-Man and the Wasp?
Yeah.
Right before. Remember? Because they get stuck in the...
No, because I thought that would happen, like, he gets stuck, and then Endgame happens.
No.
Oh, wait, no. I was talking about Infinity War, my bad. Yeah. Yeah, oh, okay.
I was going to say, because at the end, there's the whole, the ant doing the drum thing. And like, and then he's like, hello, guys. And then Endgame happens. He's like, "Oh my God, my daughter's so old." Yeah. Yeah. I love that movie.
Endgame.
Endgame. Yeah. Yeah. I like Ant-Man and the Wasp, but that movie kind of has like no.
Yeah, it was crazy going from Infinity War, Ant-Man and the Wasp, and then Endgame.
You're like, I guess I remember they were like, "This is gonna be so important."
Oh no, wait, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Captain Marvel, and then Endgame. That's what it was.
I like Captain Marvel.
Yeah, I like Captain Marvel too.
A lot actually. Yeah. But my one negative is just the pacing of the first act is kind of like it takes a little while to get going to where they need to go. Yeah. But I don't know what I would change to get them to move faster. Yeah. Because it is very much like all this stuff that they're doing does need to happen. I also love the setup. The setup is so funny where they find out that they're all contracted to kill each other, and they're like, "Oh, we're the evidence." Yeah. I think that's hilarious. But That's really it. I just had that one specific issue. Of course, I wish Bucky got more to do, but that's because I love that character.
Yeah.
And same thing, Ghost. I'm just waiting. Like I'm waiting to see what they do because that power she has is so cool. And what's so funny is just like I can only do it for a minute, and John is like just for a minute. He's like, that's it.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just like I guess if Ghost can do more, but we don't even know. Yeah.
So the ending to this didn't surprise you, I assume, if you knew that was coming?
Yeah, I guess since I knew it was coming, I was like, okay, when is it going to happen? But even then, it just feels like a joke, too.
Yeah.
I mean, they even say it, too. It's like, it doesn't even feel like they're in that type of position.
Yeah, they're like, why would we be? And so it makes me wonder what they're doing with that going forward.
Yeah.
Because the credits themselves are really cool, where it's like the B-Vengers or whatever. They're like, I don't know, I kind of like
and it's like the meme that people would expect to see and everything.
Yeah, where it's like, why would you guys get this knockoff team? It sounds like they read the comments for when Guardians of the Galaxy was coming out and used them for like the actual newspaper clippings that they were showing in there. And of course, I do want to mention this just because we've given shit to other movies for this. I think this is the best end credit scene I've seen for something in like a long time.
I can't even. What's the last one that like came out? That was good.
I think we said we liked the one for Transformers 1, where Megatron is like, Decepticons rise, and then I don't think.
I thought you no in MCU.
Oh, in the MCU,
Transformers rise. That movie was so good. At first, I thought you were talking about the Michael Bay one. I was like, dude, what are you talking about? Like,
oh, you thought I was fucking with you?
And I was like, what the hell are you talking
Erwin's
about?
favorite one, Transformers 5.
No, I haven't seen that one.
Do you even know what that one's called?
No.
The
Age
Last
of Extinction?
Night? No, that's 4.
Oh.
What about Transformers 6?
There's no 6 one.
See, that was it.
There's no 6 one. I don't know.
But honestly, with the MCU, I like the one for Beast in the Marvels. He still has not shown back up.
Beast.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah. That was cool. I like that one.
It has nothing to do with the movie that they're in.
I don't know what they're going to do. Oh, I can see. That's the time they'll bring in X-Men. I can see.
Oh, yeah, because Miss Marvel's
is Doom
a mutant, right? They made her a mutant, I think.
Yes. Either she's a mutant or like she's in that universe where the mutants are.
Yeah.
Because that makes sense now. Because you know how they announced the cast and it's old M?
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense now. Everything's starting to make sense.
Yeah.
Oh, and that's Kelsey Grammer then.
I read something about how they would use the void to turn everything into like the battle world or something, like a void like towards the world, and I was like, that makes sense.
First, like Secret Wars.
Yeah.
Oh.
But I don't know. I
feel
feel like that's a fan theory, so I don't know.
Yeah, but even then, it's just like, it's just one of those things. So you have to remind yourselves that the comics are never going to be like the movies.
Yeah.
Too, especially now since Marvel's trying to get everything back in terms of like their rights.
Yeah.
And so that way they can have all these characters into one. I feel like eventually they're going to do a clean slate.
I'm curious, like, because Brand New Day, Spider-Man, that is his clean slate.
Yeah.
I have a feeling the reason why Zendaya's back for that is they're probably going to, like, use her exclusively in what they do in the comic books, where they put her on billboards, just like, and she's like, like a constant presence, but like not actually.
Yeah. Probably sees her once or maybe twice.
Yeah. And then, like, maybe the movie ends with him, like, this is just us hypothesizing about random shit now, but, like, still, where he's like, oh my god, and then she's like, there's this one comic book where they meet at the end of it, and then it's like, you just hit the jackpot, and then, like...
Dude, that'd be amazing.
Yeah.
And then...
Spider-Man?
And then Gwen Stacy shows up.
And she's like...
Probably Gwen Stacy's gonna be in that movie, so...
I bet. Overall, Erwin, what's your score for Thunderbolts?
4.5 out of 5.
I also gave it 4.5 out of 5. This movie's so good.
It's so good, guys. Worth watching. First watch Sinners, then watch this one.
Is it upper tier Marvel? Yes, I think so.
Yeah, I'd say it's up there. Let's rank them again. All 50 something.
No, there's like 36, and that's not even counting the shows.
Oh god, we'll do that one day.
Yeah,
I'm just have to watch Secret Invasions.
Oh yeah, I don't want to do that again. Yeah. But overall, guys, what did you think of Thunderbolts / the New Avengers?
Let us know.
Please let us know. I am so excited that this movie was this good. Also, just offhandedly, Stephen Yeun was supposed to be Sentry / the Void originally. That's why people think it's kind of funny how often he says, I'm invincible in this.
That's funny. That is good.
Yeah. What's up next?
I don't know.
We actually don't have anything this week. We don't have anything to review. So
really?
Yeah.
Oh.
We'll be back the next week, guys.
What's next week?
Something.
Did you say Andor?
Andor ends soon. Not.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought Andor was ending fast. Okay.
No. But overall, guys, thank you so much for listening and watching. We will see you next time.